Welcome to the chaos sector. If I run my credit card up and don't make my payments on time, what do you think will happen? For one, debt will accumulate, second, my credit score will drop, and third, I will more than likely be denied future credit cards. Let that sink in for a moment. An actress stars in a film that becomes one of the greatest horror films ever produced, then gradually starts to undermine the franchise. If only she would have put her pride to the side, the current trio of films would have been a masterpiece. Because it would have starred Jamie Lee Curtis, Danielle Harris, and several supporting characters, all battling the bloodthirsty Myers to the end. I know it's tiresome to keep rehashing this point, but this film is the result of destroying the natural storyline that was being developed in the late 80s. But let's get into my take of the finale. Didn't even get a chance to watch the film before it was spoiled by epic rants from fans. Let's first establish the plot's purpose. The storyline is based around the idea of a new killer in the franchise. This is the general scope of the current state of Halloween. Honestly, it was time for new blood in the storyline, but it was not executed logically. Bear with me as I constructively break down the film, only to show how derp the screenwriters have been over the past 3 films. I want you to envision a better script, hopefully that will ease some of your pain. I have no pain, because I have no love for any of it. Laurie Strode, Allison Nelson, and Corey Cunningham are the main characters in the storyline. Myers is a locked character early on, you have to level up before unlocking him. Laurie is depicted as the protagonist, Allison as the supporting role to her, and Corey is the new threat. At face value, it's nothing wrong with this foundation. It's when screenwriters have to actually fill in the storyline to produce a film. In other words, they suck. It's been 4 years, and Laurie has moved on with her life, along with Allison. Realistically, people can move on after tragedies in a span of 4 years. But the problem they have, Michael Myers is still alive, and is still in that town somewhere. But let's bypass the obvious. Corey has accidentally killed a child he was babysitting, which kickstarts the plot's direction. He is condemned by the community, attacked by some teenagers, and ends up in a sewage, where Myers had been renting out a room in. It's actually logical how Myers was depicted, lurking deep underground, like a creepy monster. I like that depiction actually. He's an old man, and not as vigorous anymore, definitely has taken a lot of bodily damage over the years. So he has to lay low and let his body recover, no problem, right? Corey encounters Myers, and is attacked. But Myers doesn't kill him, rather, he channels evil energy into Corey. Corey becomes a killer, as Old Man Myers is indicating in the film that he will die. Corey goes on to kill random people, and even partner with Myers in some kills. Oh, he's prepping his student to become the next killer in the franchise? Yeah, that's cool. Not necessarily saying it's a bad idea, it's how you go about creating that killer. He should have starred in the 2018 film, with somewhat a gambit role. Perhaps risking his life to understand how Myers thinks, or what's truly behind the mask. Create a sociopathic underlayer of the character, which gradually becomes more evident within the film. Maybe he has a run-in with former classmates, an ex-girlfriend has a new boyfriend, who he threatens to kill. Or he's a loner type, who seems quite intrigued by spirituality, and the quote, dark side of reality. Anything that molds the character into the middle of being a protagonist and antagonist. This way, the audience wonders what his intentions are in the storyline. Instead of whacked-out Sartain, have Corey be intrigued by Myers. By the time you get to Halloween Ends, Corey is almost a soulless man floating throughout the plot. Since the character has already been established as a potential danger, or violent individual, by the finale, he has become more prevalent in the storyline. Which justifies him becoming a killer, right? With clever screenwriting, you don't give it away so easy though, keep his humanity intact, such as his relationship with Allison. He is just a misunderstood young man, who needs a bit of affection from the ladies. And show this, we can dig it. Have a moment of passion between Corey and Allison, which is really to keep the plot twist subtle until it's ready to be revealed. But to have Corey accidentally kill a child? That's unethical, it only ratchets up the plot. Because soon after, everyone was claiming Corey will be a copycat killer. The plot twist was already exposed before the film was released. And the wackiest of all, having Myers channel evil into Corey? What the hell is this? I just can't, I can't do it, I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I'm trying to be positive for the genuine fans who wanted a great film. But, nope, can't do it. There's no need to rationalize the derptardation you have witnessed. Everything was dumpster fire trash garbage nonsense. Halloween Kills was derped hard, but Halloween Ends rivals it in a close second. At least in Kills, there was somewhat a logical plot of the town challenging Myers, which works in the audience's viewpoint. Halloween Ends is so off-the-wall random and irrational, nobody could grasp what was going on. Kills was simple, Myers racking up dummy kills, for the derp fans. Ends has a cerebral component to it, but can't implement anything from it, because the plot is so damn wacky. A sultry redhead plays a nurse, who is presented as a main character, yet has no impact in the plot. If you recall the trailer, this redhead was highlighted as if she was a main character, or even making a cameo appearance in the film, right? Yet, she's apparently an up-and-coming actress. Nothing wrong with that, but you can't just throw random people in the storyline, especially depicting them as a main character, when they are nothing more than just a body count in the film. Power scaling, right? Officer Hawkins has more impact in the storyline, and yet he obviously didn't play a factor in the fight with Myers, nor with Corey. So why have him return? Instead of highlighting the redhead in the trailer, have a gunshot go off, and Hawkins state, "Didn't miss you this time." That's badass. They are not even honoring the nostalgic characters, rather, using them as a disguise for dumping random characters in the film. I like the redhead though, she appears to have a spicy attitude, and to be honest, looks a bit crazy. It brings a bit of life to the dull storyline. But if she just dies off, instead of playing a significant role, this creates an element of using the Halloween franchise as a way to catapult a career. Could have been Corey's ex-girlfriend, which creates conflict with Allison, there's your drama right there. Then, Corey kills that ex-girlfriend when he becomes possessed. Or, she finds out that Corey is pretending to be Myers, despite conflict with Allison, warns her about him, Allison doesn't listen, redhead is killed later on, and Allison still thinks Corey is, well, a good guy. Although her lifespan in the storyline is short, this could have been linked to Corey's plight. In 2 hours, trust me, it could have been added. But, she's just more spilled milk in the storyline. Myers is Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat now? Okay, he is a video game end boss, who transfers evil energy into your character. You gain superpowers, but lose your sanity in the process. Let's just do the fuck it up challenge with Halloween. I guess the only way Corey can become the next killer is to literally depict Myers as a practitioner of witchcraft, just plucking shit out of thin air. Without this ability, how would Corey become impervious to being shot and stabbed? How would he be able to defeat Myers in the sewage? You can't just throw whatever you want into the fucking storyline to justify Corey's role as the new killer. But look at it, that's exactly what they did. This so-called power of Myers was never displayed anywhere prior in this trilogy, nor in the original timeline. And the Derpfest continues, here's why. So Myers apparently is aware of his ability to manifest evil, or possess it, and uses this power to transfer evil into others? Now with this ability, and being damn near invincible, how in the hell is Myers getting his ass kicked by an old lady in Laurie Strode every film? Either he's a mere man who has become so evil, he has surpassed the average threshold of pain. Or, he is not human, and has long died off, literally a walking evil spirit, within flesh. He can't be both. The only character that had this power was Wynn from the Jamie Lloyd timeline. If you recall, Dr. Wynn passed on the Curse of Thorn to Dr. Loomis. They harnessed that evil power and placed a significant amount of it in Michael Myers. Clearly there is a reference here. Something is being explained, without saying much. Corey attempts to kill Laurie Strode, so it was Corey fighting Laurie at some point. We stand corrected, not worth much to correct though. But then Myers comes into the picture, attacks Corey, who he took under his wing prior? Didn't Myers become killing friends with Corey? Why would he hurt his best friend? Never mind, it's so stupid to even give him that weak persona anyway. Laurie fights Myers, an old woman overpowers a old man serial killer, who is also a warlock. Allison arrives, they brutalize Myers, then throw his body in a grinder. Interesting, another subliminal reference to Curse of Michael Myers. This grinder is similar to how, guess who, Jamie Lloyd was killed by Myers. I'm picking up on something here, there is something very malicious with this film's undertones. I think they are mocking Danielle Harris and her timeline in the franchise. It was when a young Jamie touched her uncle's hand that passed on a portion of the Curse of Thorn, right? In this film, Myers passes that same curse on, just depicted a bit different, but fans weren't fooled, they immediately referenced the Curse of Thorn timeline. If you have followed these films, you can see how they added so much from other films, which are a part of the Jamie Lloyd timeline. But why? Oh, because they know people love those films and they want to add nostalgic elements into it? Well, how about just bringing Danielle Harris back to star in the film then? Oh, we can't do that, the wicked woman would throw a temper tantrum. In that 1995 film, Jamie Lloyd's body is slammed into a grinder as Myers turns it on, killing his niece. And Laurie Strode and Allison throw Myers into a grinder and his body is torn to kibbles and bits. Is that a coincidence? Or is this specifically referencing the plot of the 1995 film? Of course. Now the rhetorical question would be, out of all the possible scenarios of how the plot went, they chose more aspects from the Curse of Thorn timeline. Why couldn't Corey just be a dangerous young man who had the temptation to hurt people? Which gives birth to the new serial killer. Why couldn't Laurie just cut Myers' head off, or even Allison for the revenge factor? There were too many ways this film could have been done. Instead, they reference a film that had nothing to do with the original film they claimed to derive from. That is not a coincidence, that is planned, and it's that type of subliminal malice which pisses me off the most. Because I know who is behind all of it. Don't think this is an assumption, there are several references to the original timeline. What do you see here? You see Laurie Strode through her rear-view mirror, right? Well, what I see is a reference to the 1981 sequel where Myers was also seen through a rear-view mirror. What's the goddamn point of that? At least have Myers do this, to officially recreate that film's scene. Just stop with all the nostalgic referencing, it's so desperate. It only makes you look as if you have no creativity and are relying on past films to create interest. Show that you are capable of creating your own version of Halloween, instead of leeching off the original timeline. Isn't this what Gordon Green stated? That he wanted to reimagine Halloween? Then add to your so-called sequels to the original film, don't just revise a compilation of scenes. It's not creative, it's not innovative, it's not edgy, it has no value to the audience. In fact, it only encourages that audience to watch the older films. Whatever, it's all to show how worthless this trilogy was. Speaking of Allison, it's odd how they made her so weak in this film. I expect her to come out guns a-blazing, yet she was once again put in a dull space in her role. She's got the hots for Corey? She's ready to leave her grandmother behind, for the D? This is trendy societal virtue signaling, appealing to the younger demographic of fans, instead of having Allison stick to the script of seeking revenge for her parents' deaths. And, if not careful, her grandmother could also be killed, right? This would leave her with no one, her entire family would have been eliminated by Myers, who she obviously knows is still alive. Lack of character maturity, this is horrible screenwriting. Let's put this in perspective for a moment. Allison encountered Michael Myers in the first film. Then, Allison loses both parents to Michael Myers in the sequel. In the finale, you would think Allison would crazy glue herself to her grandmother, due to the lingering danger they are in. Her grandmother is all she has left, she should be depicted as protecting her grandmother at this point. But I guess not, and this just makes her parents' deaths expendable, like they were just flies on the wall. No real emotional attachment, Allison is indifferent. And, since she is indifferent, she is willing to abandon her grandmother? If she actually left with Corey, she would leave her grandmother alone, right? What if Myers killed Laurie? Allison essentially would have let her grandmother get killed, all in the name of lust. Wow. Talk about the power of the D. Then again, they should have let that happen, I would find that hilarious. Nothing wrong with Allison liking Corey, but that should have been at the end of the film, not throughout. You can't fall back on she's young, negative. Now to be fair, I'm not dogging that dynamic between Corey and Allison. There's a time and place for everything, and the time should have been after the smoke settled. It also adds a creative edge to the modern Halloween era, that's acceptable. But there is a tornado headed to your town, no time to upload TikTok videos, right? After everything she has been through, Allison should be depicted more like her grandmother, serious and focused on the potential of engaging Myers again. But then again, her grandmother is just as derp in the plot also. Baking pies and celebrating Halloween? Laurie is wanting Allison to enjoy Halloween? Heck, and Allison is still depicted as being oblivious as her role in the first film? Apparently, Corey's charm is so tempting, Allison disregards her grandmother, who she experienced life-threatening events with, and follows a stranger? She doesn't know Corey from a can of paint, yet is ready to get hitched with picket fences? Why make Allison so soft? Let's go through her progression. In the 2018 film, Allison was young and naive, typical teenager. Grandmother tries to guide her, she doesn't grasp the danger. In the sequel, Allison is still a bit naive, but has toughened up, as she seeks revenge for her father's death. Her mother demands that she not hunt Myers down, because he's too powerful. Once again, despite her vengeance, she doesn't grasp the danger. She heads out to battle Myers with her boyfriend, he dies, and she is saved by her mother, who knew she would do something stupid. So she followed her. In the finale, her mother has died, she has sprung over a stranger, and is ignoring her grandmother's warnings about Corey. Ignorance is bliss, is what I'm getting with her image. Allison is depicted as young and dumb, an image she never got out of due to the main character's spotlight. They have to make Allison appear naive because it strengthens Jamie Lee Curtis in the film. That hierarchy I spoke about prior. If Allison were to tell her grandmother, quote, "Don't you think we should do away with Halloween after everything that has happened? We both know Myers is still out there, and he's coming back to this town. And I'm ready for that fucking bastard." Unquote. This gives Allison more strength in the film because she has more impact in the direction the plot goes. But of course, she's just a horny young woman ready to run off with a new boyfriend. Complete your objective in the plot first, then you are rewarded with the D. Allison is trying to get the spoils before the sport. The scene of Allison and Corey on the motorcycle should have been the ending scene, it's common sense. Instead of Corey becoming the killer, have him play the hero, right? Yeah, if we're talking about genuine screenwriting and not derptastic bozos. Laurie, on the other hand, is celebrating a holiday that has caused so much pain in her life. Why now? Why wasn't this depicted in the 2018 film? You know what this is? I'll tell you. It's a subliminal message in the film that Myers will finally die, and now Laurie can move on with her life. And that comes off as mocking Myers because it hasn't happened. It would be different if the next film depicted her that way, but in the same film? Disrespectful. And now we see why both Laurie and Allison were not depicted as seeking revenge, because they already got it before they even encountered Myers. Through crappy new age screenwriting. They had to stretch the storylines years out, allowing the revenge factor to fade away. If the films were a year apart, then this finale would have Laurie and Allison seeking revenge, because Karen's death would have been a year prior, with Myers still lurking in the town. Despite the crapfest, it would at least follow the storyline's events. Jamie Lee Curtis survives, and Myers dies, something she has always wanted to do. Remember this?
And they looked at me and said, "Jamie, there's a clause in the contract with Mustafa Akkad that says you can't kill him." What? There is a clause that says we are not allowed to kill him. Now you fucking tell me?
Mustafa Akkad had a clause that protected the character Michael Myers, where he couldn't be killed in the films. Obviously this makes sense, because unless someone had a better idea, Michael Myers was the essence of Halloween. That masked killer was Akkad's business investment, surely he needed to be protected. Yet guess who thinks she can just kill off that business investment? Yeah, Curtis has some nerve. And even more so, what the hell does she think the fans would think? Can she answer all the questions about what would happen with the franchise after Myers' death? Oh, didn't think of that, did you? Curtis doesn't give a flying fuck about Halloween, that's why she thought she could just kill Myers off, without any consequences from the Halloween community. Curtis doesn't produce anything, she doesn't direct anything, she's just some spoiled actress in Hollywood. Danielle Harris, on the other hand, is an actress, has grown into directing, and even looks to produce one day. She is just a better person, hands down. And to think, even for Curtis's fanbase, she shares this fanbase with Michael Myers. Without Myers, they have no interest in a Halloween film starring this old hag. But in the end, she got her wish, power-hungry bitch gets to kill Myers off. After Mustafa Akkad's death in 2005, apparently his son, Malik Akkad, would not honor his father's wishes of protecting Myers in the franchise. Wow, and to think, Malik wouldn't have had that opportunity if it weren't for his father's hard work in bringing Halloween to the world. Honor your father by respecting his vision and his business investment. Yet Malik did not have any loyalty to his father by way of that contractual clause that protected Myers. Mustafa didn't care about a spoiled actress's feelings, and he didn't care about a spoiled director's feelings in Carpenter neither. He cared about Halloween and the vision of bringing a horror classic to be remembered. Those individuals played a significant part, of course, but you can't compromise what has brought you success. Michael Myers is, and will always be, Halloween. No matter what happens after this, he will always be the face of the franchise. You would think she would pay homage to Myers in the film, and actually, get this, save him from Corey. Save your old friend, you finally understand him in his old age. Even killing him could have been more respectful. How about tying Myers up and injecting him with poison? Yap your little exposition to the audience as Myers takes his last breath. An emotional, epic ending to Myers in the franchise, as the fans cry over the death. A monumental finale to the journey they had for all those years, scratching and clawing each other till the end. But no, let's just spit on the iconic killer, chopping his body into bits. This arrogant fucker has her head so far up her ass, she can't see the light of day. Let me stop, before I have another tirade. I warned everyone, we have been drilling this over and over throughout the series. It's a storyline with a parasite that has ate away at the body of the franchise since its origins. Now everyone can feel the anger I've felt for all these years. Simply put, you can't fix stupid. The reviews were so bad, Jamie Lee Curtis, Gordon Green, and even John Carpenter rushed to speak out about it. Can't do damage control now, the truth will be exposed in the end. And it's not the end, we will return with more. This is the Chaos Sector, Film Reviews.